Hi, I'm Lucy Wickens. I am subject lead for geography, and I'm here today to talk to you about Key Stage 4 geography, what we do and how you might be able to support at home. So first of all, I've got 4 answers. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video and have a think about what do you think the question might be if that is the answer. So if the answer is CGP, what could the question be? If the answer was Lagos, what could the question be? If the answer is AQA, what could the question be? If the answer is rivers, what could the question be? Over the course of the presentation, hopefully you'll have an idea about what some of these answers are, and we'll go back through this at the end. So, how the GCSE geography curriculum works. So with year 9, we start off with looking at challenge of natural hazards, tectonic, weather and climate change. Then in year 10, we start off with looking at ecosystems. So the unit called the living world, we look at ecosystem, tropical rainforests and hot deserts. Then we move on to the unit called the UK landscapes, where we look at coasts and rivers. And then we'll move on to our first human geography unit, looking at urban challenges. So we split this unit into 2, and you'll see that we do a bit of it in year 10 and a bit of it in year 11, looking at urbanisation with our Lagos case study. We will then also do some sort of field work. It might be our human, it could be our physical field work, and then do some practice with that as well. In year 11, we start off looking at the economic world. So we look at the development gap, and we look at a big case study called all about Nigeria, which fits in really nicely with when we look at Lagos in year 10. We then look at urban challenges. We go back to that unit and we look at the London side of it. And then we look at the UK economic change. So we group these different topics together to sort of help it make a bit more sense for students. Then we go on to the final unit called resources. And the very end of the course, we look at the pre-release, which comes out just before the Easter holidays, and students get given a booklet of information where they have to unpick it, we work through it, and we practice sort of the questions we think will come up with it. You'll see in the corner this colourful PLC. So at the beginning of every unit, all students will get given a PLC that they can look through what we have done, where we're going, and tick off how they feel. Some of them, they'll also have a science signpost at the bottom, so that where they can link what we're doing in geography to what they're doing in science to try and make those cross-curricular links. So the exam structure for geography is 3 papers. So paper 1 is physical geography, paper 2 is human, and paper 3 is the geographical applications. In that unit, in that final one, that's where they get assessed on their fieldwork and also get assessed on the pre-release. There are 3 main assessment objectives. So AO1 is a sort of your knowledge, is your point about what you want to make. AO2 is then your understanding. So how do you know that? So this is when you start to bring in your evidence. And then your AO3 is the application, analysis and evaluation. So this is when you maybe start discussing the scale of the impact of things. You start making links between different parts as well. So what I've got here is an example answer to a 6-mark question one of the year 11s has just recently done. So suggest reasons for differences in the rate of urbanisation in HICs and LICs. So a kind of activity that we do quite regularly is I will give them a model answer and we'll unpick how they have got those marks, where they can get those marks and what they can do to improve. So if you'd like to pause here, you can have a quick read through it, and then I'm going to run through how we would unpick this and look at the different AOs. So, for example, I've colour-coded the different assessment objectives here, how they would pick up their marks over the course of this answer. So this first bit here, urbanisation, the growth of the proportion of people living in urban areas. That is going to be your point, okay, your knowledge. They're saying, this is what I know urbanisation means. Then you've got here, HICs have already experienced rapid urbanisation with 80% of population living in urban areas. That is the AO2. They're showing evidence and understanding that they know how that links to the question. And then finally, the red bit here is your AO3, so the application. So what I say to my students all the time, bring in this means that as many times as possible. As you can see, they've got this in the this means that twice in this answer. Okay, so by using this structure, by really hammering home and looking carefully about AO1, AO2, AO3, students are able to really develop their understanding of how to answer these exam questions. Here's two other examples of sort of model pieces of work. So we've got a green feedback sheet here. So this is the whole class feedback that we do every 3 weeks. And we always try to get our students to be as engaged as possible in how they are going to answer the questions, rather than just being given a sheet that they just need to sort of passively look through. So you can see annotating here about waterfall formation, differences between hard and soft engineering, and that they really engage with this so they can go back and really check through their work. On the other side, we can see here again some further annotated notes that they've done about why people move to Lagos. So again, really thinking about the push and pull factors and the opportunities in Lagos. So really nice and detailed, a really useful piece of work that they can go back and revise from. So we use lots and lots of different types of resources. So all students will be given a revision guide, so like the purple one in the bottom corner, the CGP revision guide. So that will be given either at some point in year 9 or at the beginning of year 10. There's an online textbook, so the blue GCSE AQA textbook that they have access to, that they can access at any point at home, and that the code that they can use is BE9. There's also Seneca, so we use Seneca assignments quite a lot for homework and for revision that they can use, and that tracks through their progress as well. Every single lesson, all resources are on Google Classroom. They've got their PLCs as well that they can go back through and really check their confidence. There's a whole range of different flashcards as well. So there's this, again, a CGP box of flashcards. There's a whole variety of different ones out there, but making sure that they're focused on AQA. There's also lots and lots of websites. So there's cool geography and Planet Lacy videos that really go through all the stuff that we've covered in the course in a variety of ways. How can you help at home? So as I've just said, all students get a revision guide, so make sure that they're using it so you can talk to them about it, ask them to have a look through it. Keep an eye on their Google Classroom. All the work is on there, so you'll be able to talk to them about the work that they're doing. Look at past exam papers. Again, these are posted on Google Classroom. So there's real exam papers on Google Classroom. They've also got their past exam papers, so look through their papers with them when they've done a test and look at where their strengths are, their weaknesses as well. When they have Seneca assignments, see how long they spend on them, because it tells you how long they spend on it. Watching documentaries are fantastic. So there's lots of Simon Reeve and David Attenborough, and discuss what you see. See about the issues of globalization, the issues of sustainable development, issues of desertification, just to be excited by the world. Discuss current affairs, anything that's cropped up in the news, have a chat about it, think about the different causes and effects of them, and these discussions really help to develop their geography literacy. And finally, and this is really important and we really emphasise this at school, is to encourage a no opt-out. So if you ask them a difficult question and I don't know the answer, really, really keep pushing them until they give, even if it doesn't necessarily have to be a right answer, but having a chance to give a justified opinion about something is really, really important. Here's another sort of example of the type of work that they might do in a lesson. So you can see here, and again, I want you to have a think about, you can pause it if you want, what kind of answers you might come up with. So this type of activity is testing both the knowledge about climate change, thinking about how you can categorise knowledge, how they can be critical thinkers as well as being self-reflective learners, to think about what are the mistakes within this set of 8 boxes, 8 pieces of information, and then writing in the correct information. So these are some other examples of types of activities that we might do in lessons to really get students to really think about their knowledge and really push themselves. So going back to the initial activity, so CGP, a question could be, what is the name of the revision guide that the students will get given? Lagos, what is the name of the case study that we do in our Urban World unit? AQA, this is our example that we do. And rivers, this is what we do as an option subject in our UK landscapes unit, as well as doing our field work. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, Elle Wickens at reachfree.co.uk,